Hello, everyone. This is Danish Khan from Economic Times Telecom. For today's 5G series episode, we have Mr. Muralikrishnan B, President of Xiaomi India, and we are going to discuss the company's 5G related vision, immediate preparedness for the 5G technology, new product launches, pricing, and much more. Welcome, Murali, to this show.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Danish, for having me on the show.
Sure. So, Murali, now we know that government has conducted the auctions. Telecom operators have actually bought spectrum. They're readying for 5G rollout. Xiaomi has been bringing out the 5G phones in the market. So what is Xiaomi's plan for 5G? What is the vision that Xiaomi is following?
Great. Danish, with your permission, I will start with some context setting before actually talking about 5G, because that context is important.
Sure.
And the context that I want to refer to here is the upcoming festive shopping season. The festive shopping season is always an occasion for people to indulge in electronics and fashion and so on and so forth. And this year's festive shopping season is going to be a bit different from the previous couple of years. The last couple of years, we had the overhang of COVID. We've had supply chain challenges, shortages, especially in the entry level, increase in prices, and in general, a not very positive outlook. But this year, all of that has changed. Despite a fairly challenging H1 for the industry in general, I think the last few months have shown tremendous momentum, which gives us the confidence that we are heading into what can be a fantastic festive shopping season for us. We are super optimistic. And it is in this context that the recently concluded auctions and the kind of plans that Jio has announced and Airtel has been referring to, you'll have to look at all of this in this context, which is why we believe that despite 5G devices being available, and a large number of 5G devices have sold, for example, Xiaomi specifically has sold over 7 million 5G devices, but in future, let's say 5 years down the line, when we look back at that seminal moment when 5G really took off in India, I think it'll be this festive shopping season. Why? Because one, obviously, there will be amazing set of offers on offer to customers. Various companies have had exciting product launches. So do we, and I'll talk about our launches too. Number one. Number two, the fact that 5G is now going to be a reality. People have started talking about the rollout plans and so on and so forth. It's just going to elevate the overall interest as far as the entire 5G segment is concerned. And therefore, more reason than one to be very, very excited about the festive season this year. From Xiaomi's perspective, the way we look at it is to take out the message of an India-ready 5G. Now, if you look at the kind of spectrum and bands that the top operators have procured, you have the N1 band, which is 2100 megahertz. You have N3 1800 megahertz, N8 900 megahertz, and the N78, which is the 3300 to 3800 megahertz, right? Our India-ready 5G strategy says that, look, pretty much any operator that you're having in any circle, our phones and pretty much all the phones that we've launched in the last 1 year will support these bands, right, on NSA mode. For standalone, we are working on the required over-the-air updates. And by the time Reliance is ready to launch, the Jio is ready to launch its network, our OTA updates will be ready. And therefore, people can have the comfort that with a Xiaomi phone, with a Xiaomi 5G phone, you are getting an India-ready 5G, and regardless of which circle you are, which operator you choose, hey, your device will work for it, because that's one big concern. Look, we cannot expect the consumer to get into the nitty-gritties of technicalities and spectrum and bands and so on and so forth. Therefore, the message that we want to take out is, if you buy a Xiaomi 5G device, it is India-ready 5G, which I think will go a long way in building the overall confidence as far as 5G goes. In fact, till date, like I said earlier, we've had about, I think, 20 5G models starting May 2020, starting with Mi 10, and over 7 million devices sold. So till now, pretty much all the devices above 20,000 rupees were by default 5G, right? Because 20,000 rupees, when somebody is dishing out so much money, you'd want the device to be future-proof. And then over a period of time, 5G also started penetrating the 15 to 20,000 segment. But now, today, we launched a device called the Redmi 11 Prime 5G, which is priced below 15,000. In fact, the net effective price is 12,999, which is an amazingly sweet spot in terms of pricing for a 5G device. And it comes with hardly any compromises. It's got a fantastic processor, display, battery, camera, design. It's got everything that you can ask for. We believe it's the 10 to 15 and 15 to 20,000 segment, more importantly, 10 to 15, which will truly demonstrate the leapfrog impact in terms of 5G adoption. And we believe with our Redmi 11 Prime 5G launch, we have the right portfolio, right? Even in the 10 to 15,000, we have other options too. We have the Redmi Note 10T 5G, which is priced, I think, at 11,999. Net of discounts comes to about 10,500 rupees. You have the Redmi Note 11T 5G. So we pretty much have the entire 10 to 20,000 price band well covered in terms of extremely capable 5G options, which gives us a lot of confidence in further, I would say, catalyzing the 5G revolution, just as we did for the 4G revolution, right?
Sure.
And if I might just persist a little bit more on that, our first 4G phone, the Redmi Note 4G, was launched again in Diwali season in 2014. And I'm just looking back at that history and saying, how do we replicate that success? Because the last 8 years have been an amazing story in terms of how Xiaomi has impacted digital India, right? Affordable devices, 4GB phone under 10,000, and so on and so forth. All of these have catalyzed digital India. We believe with our portfolio, we can replicate that success with 5G and India-ready 5G strategy.
Sure. You talk about the pricing and how pricing is going to be very crucial for the mass adoption. While there's still some time before telcos launch their 5G services by Diwali, they will launch it. Do you see that after they launch it, the prices can touch 10,000 rupees mark, or can come below this year, anytime this year, maybe by the end of this year? Do you think that feasible given the specifications 5G phones require typically? Did you see that happening anytime soon?
Danish, I look at it this way. Any product or technology has a normal product adoption life cycle. In the beginning, you have the early adopters who kind of take to the technology very enthusiastically. I mean, these are people for whom pricing, etc., is secondary consideration. They want the latest and best. And those are the ones who have already bought those flagship devices, which are 5G. And even if 5G is whatever, 30, 40, 50% more expensive in terms of data plan, they will go for it, come what may, right? So you have those early adopters. Then you have the early majority. The early majority will take a slightly more balanced call. Do I have the right device? Is it priced right? Do I have the right price points, and so on and so forth? And then you have the late majority. The late majority are the ones who will be a little bit more price sensitive, because this is the largest segment in the market. This, we believe, is the 10 to 15,000 price point. And that's going to be large enough as far as 5G is concerned. Now, on whether 5G will start penetrating the sub 10,000 segment, I think we'll have to give the economies of scale and Moore's law a little bit more time to play out. I think it is too early to jump into that specific price point. It will come to that at some point of time. But to expect that to happen this year, I don't know. I mean, I'll be too much of a soothsaying, but it does look a little bit far-fetched. But that's where we believe 10 to 15,000 is the sweet spot. It is amongst the fastest growing segments in the market. It is large, right? 30-40% of the market is in that price band. And hence, good, meaningful, all-round 5G options there will go a long way in driving 5G adoption in India.
Sure. So for 5G adoption, do you see any possibility of partnering with telecom operator to bundle your devices with their plans whenever they come? There might be chances that they might position 5G as a premium service, or maybe they can just give away 5G at 4G prices. But do you see the possibility of partnering closely with telecom operators, whosoever launches 5G first or maybe second, to do bundle devices?
So again, when it comes to fostering the adoption of new technology, partnership amongst members of the ecosystem is very, very critical. And we've had the good fortune of participating very, very closely in all the trials that the operators have been having for the last 2 years. So there's a lot of cumulative knowledge that we've built out on 5G. But that's as far as technology development, product design, and specifications and capabilities are concerned. But now it's coming to the moment of truth. From our side, hey, we are more than open to partnering with telcos and trying to see how you can bundle a smartphone with a data plan. And I'm not saying this is going to be a locked device. That's not where I'm going. But if you can bundle a 5G data plan along with a 5G handset, and that gives people an easy access, right, into the 5G revolution, and then they can continue from there. I think that these are very, very interesting ideas, which Xiaomi will be happy to explore with mobile operators. I mean, ultimately, a lot of those also happened in 4G, and you're seeing the result of that. So you should learn from what worked well in the past and see if you can replicate it in this new era of 5G.
Sure. You have launched devices, this Redmi device, 5G device, your most affordable device ever. For the coming festive season, which are the other preparations you have done so far, be it on the channel front, be it on the manufacturing front, to scale up the capacity to meet the demand? If you could like give details on those areas.
I'll break this answer up into three parts. One is product portfolio, the second is channel, and the third is marketing, right? And maybe that'll be a comprehensive answer. On product portfolio, again, you track Xiaomi, so you know we've refreshed pretty much our entire Redmi entry level as well as the mid-range Note series and Xiaomi series this year. In fact, we also went one step further today, and which is in the sub 10,000 segment. The sub 10,000 segment is one segment which actually degrew to a certain extent in the last couple of years. And that's largely the result of price increases, inflation of impact, and so on and so forth. Look, for somebody who wants to buy a 6,000, 7,000 rupee phone, 600-700 rupee increase is like a 10% increase in price, right? And these are people who don't have access to financing and so on. So that segment shrunk a bit, and therefore we believe that impacted feature phone to smartphone upgrades. We have a great proposition for that segment. We just launched the Redmi A1. Right, I mean, in the tagline there is live now A1, which is priced at 6,499. A nice 6.5 inch screen, dual camera, fantastic design, which hopefully will help further give momentum to the sub 10,000 segment, which is where the impact of Digital India is most importantly felt, right? So that's on the product portfolio. For the rest of the stuff, we of course have the Redmi 11 Prime 5G and the Redmi 11 Prime in the 10 to 15,000 segment. Now, as far as channels go, for the last few years, our online offline contribution has been roughly 50-50%, right? And we believe that trend will only continue going forward. But the big progress that we have made in offline in the last couple of years is our width of distribution. The total number of outlets that we service has more than doubled in the last couple of years, right? So there's a lot more extensive reach, not just in metros, but in the far reaches of the country. And as far as online goes, of course, we have deep partnerships with Flipkart and Amazon, and we have our own e-commerce portal, me.com. So needless to say, you will find a lot of focus and excitement, especially when the sales start towards the later part of September. The third thing is on marketing. Xiaomi has always had some interesting aces up its sleeve as far as festive season marketing is concerned. Typically, it happens under an umbrella campaign that we call Diwali with Me. And this year we have a very, very interesting theme. Unfortunately, my marketing team will not give me the liberty to discuss details on that, even though I'm quite excited about what's coming up. But as always, in terms of the consumer proposition, price discounts, cashbacks, bank discounts, exchange bump up, or even data bundles, right? And we won't do this just for smartphones. We have our smart televisions, we have laptops, and we have launched a whole host of new AIoT products recently. The smart air fryer, the robo vacuum cleaner, the smart fan. We recently launched the Redmi Notebook Pro 120 and 120G with 120 Hertz refresh rate. So we are lining up a very, very exciting set of offers across the entire product portfolio, which just reflects not just our excitement, but our optimism that, hey, this is going to be a festive season to remember, not just for 5G, but for more reasons than one. And that's our outlook for the shopping season.
Sure. So how has the dollar fluctuations and rising of certain component prices have impacted the overall device prices for Xiaomi? It has impacted the entire industry, but how have you managed so far to maintain that you get like sufficient margins from each product? So, and will it impact the 5G prices as well going forward?
Okay. So look, there has been pricing pressure and demand pressure in the market for the first 6 months of the year. That is undeniable, and it is there to see. But just given the overall sentiments, we've also been acting responsibly and haven't passed on too many of these price increases in the recent past, right? I mean, somewhere we also know that there is a certain elasticity of demand when it comes to prices. But come festive season, I mean, of course, the consumer is looking forward to exciting offers. The platforms will have lined up exciting offers. Offline partners will have their own set of exciting offers. I think all of this put together along with affordability offers, right? No cost EMIs. I think that will start playing a very, very important role in driving the sale of mid-range and high-end devices. So while there could be some pricing pressure, and not that we are anticipating any big price increase, we are not. But in order to soften the impact, I think no-cost EMI options and various bank discounts will help soften the impact and get people to buy devices that they've been considering for a while.
Sure. Xiaomi has maintained leadership in the smartphone market for many years. Now, in the 5G domain, do you expect to get or corner the similar market share going forward? Do you say, can we expect Xiaomi aiming for the top position in the 5G smartphone market?
Absolutely, with complete confidence. The answer to that is a completely positive yes. We believe by virtue of the fact that we brought great price value proposition in terms of specs and pricing in the 4G segment, especially below 10,000. Like I said earlier, that's been a key catalytic driver in driving the 4G adoption. And we want to replicate the same with 5G. And we believe the simple message of India ready 5G, number one. Number two, having meaningful options at key price points, 10 to 15, 15 to 20 and above 20. Right? This, and of course, given our extensive reach, not just offline, but deep relationship with online partners, combined with our ability to understand the pulse of the consumer and get out the right marketing message, will definitely contribute to us replicating the impact that we had on 4G. And we want to be right at that forefront of driving the 5G revolution in India from the device side.
Right. And how do you see the competition? Because other players are also gearing up for the festive season. They also plan to bring or maybe rather flood the market with devices. How do you plan to take on the competition in the market?
Danish, in business, there are two philosophies. One is you focus on competition and worry about competition and so on and so forth. And the other one, which is actually the easier one, is to focus on the consumer and do the right thing for the consumer. Xiaomi's growth in India for the last so many years. And you know that one of the reasons for our success is a deep understanding of the consumer, what the consumer wants, and being able to package this proposition of best specs, highest quality, and honest pricing in a package that is unmatched, right? And that's led to the success. And as long as you're staying true to this principle, I want to democratize technology. I want to deliver innovation for everyone. We believe competition. I'm sure that we have worthy competition in this country. They will try their best to win the customer's wallet share and heart share. But just given the recognition that Xiaomi has and our ability to consistently deliver on that promise, not just in terms of device, but also customer service, after sales, quality, the entire package put together, we will continue remaining strong and being market leaders.
Sure. What are your personal goals for Xiaomi India since you have taken over as the president? What are your personal goals? Where do you see, which are those areas where you want to do more or where you could have focused, but now the time is right and you want to focus more on those areas? Which are those areas?
I'll break this up into 2-3 parts. One big point of the charter that I am personally driving is to try and see how Xiaomi can play a substantially bigger role in Make in India and Digital India, right? We've already made enormous progress in Make in India. We've started making in India from 2015. Today, 99% of our smartphones, 100% of our smart televisions is made in India. Not just that, we've also started to broaden and deepen our component ecosystem. So various components that go into the phone, charger, cable, battery, of course, the PCBA, camera module, front and back cover, all of that is sourced in India. And we want to bring more of our component partners, component suppliers into India so that the total value addition from India can go up. That's number one. And once you start demonstrating that entire value addition to the local economy, it will have enormous trickle-down impact on Digital India also. Just by sheer fact that people are upgrading to a Xiaomi device, a Redmi device, from a feature phone to a smartphone. And all of us know your first smartphone opens up opportunities that you've never imagined earlier. Online education, gaming, UPI payments, like a game changer. Right? I mean, watching a cricket match on the go, whoever thought that would be possible, but with a smartphone, that's possible. So that's one part of my charter in terms of increasing and making it much larger in terms of Xiaomi's impact on Make in India and Digital India. That's number one. Number two is Xiaomi has this extensive product portfolio, smartphones, smart televisions, laptops, tablets, and a whole host of AIoT devices. right? The second part of the agenda, of course, is how do you spread the love and get more people to enjoy the benefits, not just of the smartphones. We already have 200 million Xiaomi smartphone users in India. From the beginning, we've sold 200 million devices. But how do you spread the love and get more people to experience the benefits of AIoT devices in this country, right? Like a wearable or a smart camera at home, etc., etc. All of these are things which, you have a life before that and a life after that. I mean, that's how large and meaningful it is. The third part of what I would personally want to start driving increasingly is in terms of talent development, and that's internal to this company, right? I mean, we have a large talent pool. We've hired a whole lot of people fresh out of college. How can I invest more time in grooming them, developing them, and start creating future leaders? So I'll broadly, so Make in India, Digital India, getting more people to enjoy the entire Xiaomi portfolio, right? So you can't just have people with one device. How do you get more Xiaomi devices into the household? And the third one is more inside looking in terms of talent development and developing future leaders. These are the three that would be part of my charter.
Sure. And since Xiaomi has a very wide portfolio of AIoT devices, connected devices, with 5G, how do you see 5G impacting your IoT business? Like, will it provide an opportunity for you to launch more devices, different categories, which 5G would enable? How do you see 5G impacting positively your IoT business?
So if I were to simplify the benefits of 5G to a consumer, one is greater bandwidth, right? Two is a lower latency. Three is increased concurrency. These are the three key value proposition of 5G for any consumer. Now, greater bandwidth and lower latency have obvious smartphone use cases: gaming, AR, VR, real-time gaming, etc., video conferencing, ultra HD video streaming. All of those are very, very apparent. But this third point on concurrency, I think as an industry, we aren't talking too much about it. Typically, our current IoT devices, of course, most of them are inside the home and working on Wi-Fi. So in its current form, 5G, we'll have to figure out the big impact of 5G as far as IoT devices is concerned. I think first we'll start with industrial IoT installations, and the consumer use cases are still to evolve. And not just here, even globally, I don't think 5G use cases for consumer IoT has matured to any extent. But the time for that will come, right? We know what is the right question to ask. Now, the answers will start evolving if you're asking the right questions. So I think 5G will first have a much bigger impact on smartphone usage, and then there will be a secondary or tertiary impact on IoT devices. That's because most of them are anyway working on 5G at home. It's only when you start having IoT devices on the move that the impact of 5G starts making a difference. So for example, sensors in a car and so on and so forth. Maybe tomorrow, automated driving. Like, these are the kind of things for which IoT will start having a large role to play.
Sure. Are there any new product categories for which you are preparing for local manufacturing? Because TV, smartphones, and some wearables you're already making.
Yeah, so we already do smartphones and televisions. Power banks also we source locally. We are starting to source wired earphones locally. So that's a new addition to this list. There are a couple more other smart wearable products that are in the mix. The final set of conversations are going on and hence not in a position, but wired earphones anyway, we are starting quite soon. Plus, we're also on the component for the smartphone side, we're also looking at things like display, which is a significant line item in the BOM, right? Display localization is one of the things that we are pursuing with a fairly high priority, and we'll continue that list, right? We are committed. We will try and maximize local sourcing as much as possible.
Sure. Any last comment on Xiaomi's plan or the market where I may have missed while asking my questions, like which you would like to highlight?
So let me just paraphrase and summarize this conversation. I think this festive shopping season with Dussehra, Durga Puja, Navratri, Diwali, etc., will be something that a few years down the line we look back and say, "Boss, okay, that is when 5Gs really started growing in India." That's point number one. Point number two, the simplicity of communication of an India-ready 5G is the need of the hour. Customers cannot get confused about bands and so on and so forth. And we owe it to them to simplify it and say, you buy this device, it'll work wherever you are. That's point number 2. Point number 3, we believe starting now is when 5G will truly start making a big difference in the 10 to 15,000 segment. It is the largest segment in the market. And this is when 5G adoption can truly start skyrocketing, going in parallel with network execution. So, I mean, these are the 3 big points that I sort of shared with you.
Sure. Last question, any number, market share related figure that you would like to share in terms of that you would want to achieve in coming quarters or by end of this calendar year?
We've been the number 1 smartphone brand for over 4 years now. We are extremely confident with our product portfolio, our consumer connect and go-to-market strategies. That is something that we will continue maintaining come what may. That is something that we are very, very focused on. I mean, percentages here and there can go up sometimes, come up sometimes. That's different. But what matters is with ASP in the market going up, your value is also growing quite encouragingly.
Sure. So on that note, Murli, I think let's conclude this. Thank you very much for all those insights and explaining Xiaomi's plan for the 5G market and preparations for the festive season. Thank you very much for doing this.
Thanks, Danish. Always a delight having a conversation with you. Look forward to keep doing this again and again.
Likewise, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Take care.